Happy Friday, good morning, happy Junto Nakatani Eve. And what have we learned the past 2 days? Let's just try to get through this as quick as possible. What did we learn the past 2 days? We learned 2 days ago that PBC is all of a sudden uncharacteristically concerned about two things that they're not generally concerned about, right? One is quality control, and two, all of a sudden, out of the goodness of their own heart, they want to work across the aisle to make fights. So that's what we learned 2 days ago, and I'll leave that open to you to decide why. But what we learned yesterday is Benavidez is going to fight Gvozdyk in June, and they'll likely put it on pay-per-view, and it'll likely make do approximately 11 pay-per-view buys, and it's going to take them all but 2 minutes to add up the $800 they make from that fight. But my initial reaction to it when I learned with everybody else was that he doesn't want to go to 168 back-to-back quickly, right? I assume that's common sense, right? He plans on bouncing back quick after this fight in June, wants to stay busy, possibly come back in September, I don't know. And he doesn't want to go to the 168 well twice, back-to-back that quickly. Would rather save himself from draining himself an extra 7 pounds for the fight in June. So you fight at 175, and it's twofold, right? In the process of not draining yourself down to 168, you actually steer clear of a tougher fight with Morrell Jr. and fight Gvozdyk, a guy coming off of retirement, 37 years old. Still a good fight, and it's still good that Benavidez is staying busy, but it's not what it's framed. People are framing it to be. I don't think Benavidez is at all concerned about being interim champion and a mandatory for one of those Russians at 175. This is an optics move, and it's good optics. Interim champion, 2 weight classes, a smart move. It's a smart move. Steer clear of the tougher fight at 168. Save yourself from draining yourself as a big guy at 168 twice in a short period of time, June, possibly September in the process. So good move from Benavidez, smart move. And it's also a smart move on the Canelo side, right? Why? Shout out to Ernesto Amador, who was on the round table with Joe Habib, ringside reporter, in D-Style Boxing last night. And he explained the process and how this is working out and how it's working out for the Canelo team. I'm surprised more people aren't talking about this online. I think they're too busy having their anti-Canelo spasms and seizures and circle jerks to point out that since he came out of retirement, Gvozdyk is actually a Canelo team fighter. Eddie Reynoso is his manager. So this will give Eddie Reynoso and the Canelo team a close-up look to Benavidez and his team in June. And who knows, later on this year, you likely have the big one. But the process of elimination, Amador also pointed out that Canelo isn't interested in the Bud fight because Bud's much smaller and he doesn't think he's going to get the credit for that fight. So what we learned the past 2 days is Maul is out of the picture. Can't pay for that fight. Don't have the budget, I'm assuming. And it looks like Bud may be out the picture. So process of elimination, unless you're one of these people who believes, one of these mental midgets, that Canelo's going to fight Berlanga or Carlos Adames, we're starting to get a clearer picture of what's going on, what the plans are for Canelo in 2024. And if it doesn't play out that way, we just deviate. It is what it is. We're all just out here trying to read between the lines and read the stitches on the fastball, right? But some good fights coming up. And I have to reiterate this, though, man. They should not be putting Benavidez versus Gvozdyk on pay-per-view. And also another thought I had yesterday is I'm watching this news unfold, and I'm watching Tank versus Frank announced, and it's blipped by Benavidez versus Gvozdyk. And why is that? Because obviously it's attached to Canelo news, and dudes are doing 5-hour lives and podcasts in spaces on Canelo turning down a $55 million offer because Sampson said so. An invisible offer that never existed, right? All while Tank's announcing a fight with Frank. And you see, these are some of the same guys who say that Tank is one of the biggest fighters in the world and is the face of boxing, right? And Tank versus Frank is just flying under the radar. Why? Because Canelo's in the news cycle. So what we learned yesterday as well is Canelo is still the face of boxing, and number 2 is not even close. Y'all have a great weekend. Peace. God bless.